Now the enemy attacks.
I guess it does prove that he was the best fighter of an area. Where everyone went berserk, he's the one who survived, implying he killed everybody. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with episode 10 of Macross Delta. We just got done dealing with more of Messer's ongoing drama.
Mine? Yeah, Messer's messed up mind.
Well, it's his backstory coming into play, which is new. And I guess more of Kamene's backstory as well.
Yeah.
But not much else.
Another mention of Lady M as being whoever's behind all of this.
Well, Kaname is the one who usually gets in touch with Lady M. Seems that this time, though, it's
the captain.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Johnson was
Ernest
the one.
Johnson.
Yeah.
The Ernest of Johnson, yeah.
Trying to remember his name. It's like, wait, what was the joke? Something about penises. What was it?
He's a very Ernest Johnson, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a helpful tool to try and remember who the hell he is. Because otherwise, it's just a giant green guy.
I think he actually knows it's a very helpful tool, at least for him, probably.
Well, he's the only one not involved in a romance triangle at the moment, so.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Poor guy.
Oh, I hope he actually gets to be Ernest.
Oh, it doesn't seem like he's interested in anything.
Uh-huh. Except wearing a nifty uniform. A Captain Global style uniform.
Captain Global bumped his head on door frames all the time. I don't know if you've seen this guy do it. He's
he actually
too big.
Dodged the door. Yeah, he's so big he actually had to go in like this and scared all the girls.
I still think he chose to be that size, though. I think there's an element at play that you can choose your body.
Well, once again, Clank couldn't do that. That was a problem with Clank. That Clank was full statuesque, centrati female. Well,
I can't remember what my previous argument to that was. It might be an element of working in reverse. What if your normal body was the macro of Macross, the macro body, and then you had to choose a body to be into, where some Zentradi have to then choose a macro body because their default is the normal small one, the micro.
Well, the implication is that Clank was macro, and then when she tried to be micro, that's what happened. She stayed, kind of like chibi
style.
My
argument, though, is that one of these bodies is yours and the other one isn't.
Both of them are your bodies because your bigger body kind of dissolves into the smaller one. That's how it's supposed to work.
I don't think it dissolves. I think it's just there. We saw them in SDF Macross, the original.
The big body disappeared.
Yeah, no. There was they had a giant body in a tube, and then they had a smaller body also in a tube, and they're just both there. That you transfer your consciousness between one or the other. I mean, that was our first encounter with it, with the
Centrati,
the three pedophiles.
Yeah.
I mean, that apparently that's the joke.
Yeah, they're Lolita. Yeah, the three names.
Yeah. So, I mean, but the product is everything else in Macross has advanced technologically, except that. And you have a whole species of people who are beholden to it. You don't think that would be advancing too?
And they didn't work with Clank.
I think that might just be an element of what's available.
True. But I think it's personality transfer. If that's the case, then people are functionally immortal in this universe. If anybody can be just...
Literally a thing I've brought up before.
Yeah.
Well, you're not functionally immortal. Obviously, you can die to anything. They're not making copies of your consciousness. Yeah. Well, why not?
Time-wise, I mean, if you get old enough, you just like, I'll just make me a big body and then transfer me again to a smaller body.
Macro bodies seem to be immortal anyway. And we've already covered by Do You Remember Love? Apparently, a human can transform into a macro-sized person, too.
And Mac 7 Dynamite as well. The dad, he chose to be a Zentradi-sized creature.
He was a Zentradi-sized creature of his own race.
Yeah, but still.
Well, as I'm saying, though, he's not a macro Zentradi. I guess it's the same thing I'm talking about with Max.
Yeah.
Max being a macro-sized human. I don't know that those people can live forever, though.
I mean, here's the thing, though. If you create new bodies, right, to transfer, and you're transferring your intellect, why not have the new body be a younger body and just transferring your intellect, right?
I know. Again, I've said this before.
So, yeah.
I have said this before with the why don't you just keep transferring forever? But we never cover this. It's like they just thought about it in the background. It's like, oh, that's all the thinking we had to do. You know, let's just introduce less and less centrati within every show, and we have to discuss it less.
Yeah.
Even though we've done, again, other races macroing. Hell, you could technically create your own stuff, right? We are at, God, I think I brought up Eon a number of shows now. My favorite Greg Bear novel, probably my favorite novel of all time, where the hegemony city that's traveling down the way, where most of the population of the city are ghosts, which is just uploaded people, because there's not enough room in the city for physical people. In physical people can have any form that they want, because it's a transhumanist thing. Like the main guy from the city that we spend all the time, I think his name is Omli, has a body where he poops like once a year.
Okay.
He's got like an internal thing there. Everything is getting recycled constantly, so the amount of calories he needs to keep going, he like needs to eat like once a year, and he poops once a year or something like that. I can't remember. It's like not gone into a lot, but it's covered when a bunch of people discover him for the first time, and he looks weird to them because they're 20th century humans. Well, he just like describes himself a little bit. But there's also like, I think they call them Noosphere is the amalgamation of all human consciousness into one. Noose somethings, where they're just like blob shapes that communicate through pictograms that you can pick whatever shape you want. Well, I think that kind of reality exists here, where you could put yourself into a macronization chamber. Like, you could upload your brain into a space whale.
Yeah.
You could exist in any form you want. You could upload your brain into a Vajra. Well, you couldn't, actually, now that I think about it. Vajras don't have big enough brains to contain human intelligence, it seems. Although I guess technically you could form your own like little Borg collective of a bunch of uploaded brains into a Vajra network.
Yeah. And then go from there.
Yeah. And, just start forcing other people to join your collective.
Like a tin pot biological dictator. I guess all dictators
I was going to say Grace.
Yeah.
Like a Grace.
Like,
it has to be a Grace, because it's not the Grace, because there's two Graces. We haven't yet determined which one is actual canon.
Which we haven't decided. I may never will.
Well, it depends. If they show up in the show. Until a series ends, it's never determined if a character from another show couldn't show up here.
True.
But
the tendency is for them not to do that.
Sure, but, you never know. The war could happen here, right? Like, I mean, it could get bigger. And then Mega Road 1 fucking shows up, and Hikaru...
Isamu Dyson, they show up in the movie, so
sort of.
Yeah.
Like a voice line and a jet. Like, we didn't see him physically. They didn't want to show us what older Dyson looks like. Isamu, sorry. What older Isamu looks like. But there's nothing stopping, like, Mega Road 1 from showing up all of a sudden, and Hikaru in a Skull Fighter launching out. God, I don't know how old he would be. 60?
Yeah, in his 60s.
Still, be pretty cool. Although we wouldn't recognize him because he'd be 60 fucking years old.
Yeah.
It'd be a Skull Fighter, a Skull Jet, and be like, oh, okay, I think maybe.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, we got everybody from Frontier who's been in Skull Fighting jets, so who the hell knows?
So, let's get started, shall we?
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, If you want to watch more shows like this,
Unfiltered.
Uncensored.
And uncut.
as well as some early access stuff,
You can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Back in Windermere. Epsilon.
Or was it the EPS Lion? Dude, something's wrong with your head.
Oh.
Burger. I could go for one of those.
はい。この度の調整により、ハインス様の歌声を増幅することが可能かと。プロトカルチャーシステムの能力解明が遅れている、せめてものお詫びでございます。しかし、あのようなものを使えば、ハインス様へのお体への負担がさらに。構わん。シグルバレンスの能力解明は 45% まで完了いたしております。もうしばらくの。
Oh, that's one of the ruins now, remember.
よかろう。風は必ず吹く。
Can't
That's the first
say
time we have a corporation step in.
can't say I'm a massive fan of all the wind motif stuff either. What color is the wind? The wind will blow. Yeah.
No.
Sure. It's like watching Game of Thrones and all the weird motif stuff than being north of the wall.
Yeah. But the fact that now we have an Epsilon company here or foundation, and they're the ones developing this tech.
They're not developing it; they're researching it.
True.
Because like apparently they're going to the ruins and discovering what the ruins can do, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, I got a big Macross Zero feel from them at the ruins. Reminded me of them investigating Birdman in Macross Zero.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe
See
it's a
how well
continuation.
that turned out.
Yeah, it turned out fine.
Well,
in fact,
because
if they hadn't been researching it, they wouldn't have known what Birdman was capable of when Birdman then turned on everybody.
Well, they woke up Birdman. That's what happened.
They didn't wake up Birdman.
Yeah.
The singing woke up Birdman. I mean, in fact, you could consider Dr. Hasford woke up Birdman. He wasn't part of that group. In shows where you don't get beach episodes, by the way, we've already had beach episodes, you also get,
festivals.
Yeah, couldn't remember the word. Festival episodes. So they're going to dress up in kimonos and watch fireworks. I don't think I've ever stared mouth open gawking at a musician before. In that order, I guess.
Yeah. And they're clapping half and then die. Thank you very much.
クラゲ祭りってさ、ラグナの海神様を称えるお祭りです。いや、それは聞いたけど。これも任務です。その星の行事には
I guess you'd really have to flavor jellyfish in order to eat them.
いや、それも聞いたけど。カップル多くね。クラゲ祭りは恋人たちの祭りってね。
お祭りの夜、クラゲの下で愛を誓い合った恋人同士
Oh, it's one of those episodes. By the way, why is that couple beside you not moving? They're drawn in a moving forward pose, but they're just not going anywhere.
レイレイ、女の子がそんなこと言っちゃいけません。私はルール無用の女。恋人同士は永遠に。
Oh, so this is going to be the episode where both of them are like...
来ねえだろ。
でも、明日には行っちゃうんでしょ？
転属先はララミス整形だったよな。
that's new.
安心だな。物足りねえとか言い出しそうだけど。確かに。
I doubt it's the last time we're gonna see Messer, though.
アルファ正体のやつか。後で言っておく。
自分は生きていていいのか。そんなことばかり考えていました。
No,
I think I
pushes
recognize the
off edge.
voice. Yeah. Isn't his voice from Alto? It sounds like the same voice actor as Alto.
You know I can't hear this until we do our
Yeah.
node stuff later. Well, yeah, they get born in the water. They've got a choice. I would say jellyfish babies are learned to float before anything.
荷物の整理に。明日はみんなでお見送りに行くからね。
お構いなく。はあ？死神野郎が要さんを？
好き。だってブレスレットにカナカナの確か入って
I'm sorry, why do we decorate our walls with atomic bombs going off?
No, I think this is supposed to be jellyfishes.
カナメはアラドが好き。
Again, this is shit that I wrote down in like episode 2 when I described the love triangles.
で、アラド隊長気づいてるのか？
メッサ注意はどうなんですか？
気づいているのかいないのか。
めんどくせえな。好きって言えばいいじゃねえか。
Of course. Oh, yeah, and they both reacted the same way.
そこで、
Yeah.
はやはやに重要任務を命じます。
The fact she gives everybody nicknames is really confusing for me.
お前たちはもう
Yeah.
俺の部下ではなくなるからな。あ？どういう意味だよ。言った通りだ。最後まで嫌な感じだな。
メッサー抜きでやれるのか？
やれなくてもやれって言うんだろ。
わかってるじゃねえか。
遺跡の方はどうなんだ？
何の変哲もないただの石ころだとさ。ま、調査は続けているが。
Yeah, we brought on Epsilon Company.
この間も
うん
あいつの偵察に来たに違いない。遺跡のない星も襲ったのはカムフラージュだろう。
レディ M からラグナとアルシャハルの防衛を強化するよう通達があった。残る遺跡がある星はその2つだからな。
アルシャハル。
Well, that's new. Don't think we covered Al Shahal had any ruins on it before.
ンダミアには縁があるようだ。ハヤテインメルマンは。
俺たちもな。
Is the city dead?
Okay.
All the lights were off in the city.
Yeah. Well, not dead. I think it might be part of the cultural festival that
That everybody
there's light.
had a single
There's
person
lights
stay
in the
home.
background. There's lights in the
No, I'm
background.
talking about the dome city, the city ship.
Oh.
It was completely dark.
It could be just a museum shit. People, you know.
That is a waste of space, if that's true. Yeah, what about what's his name's sister, who's also in love with Messer?
Yeah.
へえ、風に乗って飛び立てたってわけだ。
いやー。あっちも飛び立てるといいんだけどね。
Yeah, but what about Arad?
向こうでは
Again, she likes Arad too, and Messer's leaving.
自分の期待
This is
Yeah.
the worst time to start a long distance relationship.
もう実戦で飛ぶことはないでしょうが。なあ、なんでメッサーを誘えなんて言ったんだ？もしかして要さんとくっつけようって？
まさか。ま、そうなったらそうなったで面白いけど、ただ楽しい思い出が作れたらいいなって。私たちだって。
Or, you know, something to regret until he does die.
だから
Oh,
楽
there you
し
go.
む。今精一杯。
Huh, hint, hint.
今を精一杯か。
I think they're not hinting at all.
なんだ？始まった。
We forgot to pay the power bill.
Oh, this is Stardew Valley.
I have never played more than like 3 days in that game.
Well, I played a lot of that game.
I always hit the point where my character's exhausted, and I just like, okay.
ゴリゴリテッカルチャー。
なるほど、確かにクラゲの下だ。年に一度必ず
Just wait till they start pooping.
クラゲは地上に上がり卵を産む。生命の神秘ってやつだな。
この色、緑、黄色。
I say can't be Rainbow. Only one other person in here sounds like Rainbow. That's her, who's currently drowning.
Apparently not.
I breathe through my butthole.
Through her skin.
長生きできたとしても、思いっきり歌を歌えんってなったら。
What right he is, he's not human.
Don't know. I mean, I was calling out Grace as being a cyborg from the very beginning, so I feel like I'm pretty good at this. But I don't know.
綺麗ね、メッサ君。
カナメさん。
何？アクシア。
Could have put my image on it or credited me as the artist.
And now he's gonna die.
Yeah, because he won't have it anymore.
あなたの歌があったから俺は生きることができた。
メッサー君。
本当にありがとうございました。
Now the enemy attacks.
I guess it does prove that he was the best fighter of an area. Where everyone went berserk, he's the one who survived, implying he killed everybody.
Yeah, this has so many death flags to it. I
guess it's an
can't
aerial
stop.
night.
Yeah.
ロイド様。
Gonna kill all of you?
Two swords.
ロイド様。
Challenging you for leadership of the clan?
休息が必要だ。
キース。久しぶりだな。私に勝てたことが。
I mean, this is our previous argument at play. Because if he was nobility, you figure he could just command Roy to get out of the way. Ah, go figure the military guy took out the academic.
しかし、ハインツ様のお命が。その時は、俺の命も大いなる風に差し出そう。この戦いに勝利した後、俺の命も。
翼を収めよ。ルンに二人の風を感じた。歌って僕も死のう。キース。
I feel like the story here is going to be Walkir has to save Hines.
アルシャハルにバール発生。新たに配備された部隊も一瞬で敵のコントロール下に落ちた。気をつけろ。あの歌が響いている。
くそ、なんなんだよ。前よりはっきり聞こえやがる。
So the ruins are amplifiers. On another planet.
惑星リスタニアの遺跡も反応を始めました。
なんだと？
You're gonna think it's gonna be when all of the ruins are activated, they're gonna be able to push out to planets without ruins.
Probably.
ですが歌が聞こえてくると。
製造。
Thanks.
飛び出さ
Wouldn't have been able to figure that one out without him. Thank God he's so earnest. I would say Walkure songs are really hit or miss for me. Some of them I really like. Some of them are pretty meh. I think you guys are just making it more powerful. This one is the Battle of the Bands, Macross. Oh, it's a Symphogear move.
Yeah.
Symphogear get pulled into another dimension one time. What'd you call me? A-hole. Maybe it's an opening to where the protoculture went that didn't die. Ah, the king's dousing again. Glad we practiced that. That paid off for us. Where I say one thing and the next guy says the next thing. Yeah, it's weird how sometimes Walkure shows up with all of their holographic technology in tow and all their flying drones and whatnot. And sometimes they just don't. Maybe look forwards when you're flying through a city. Well, I mean, we said Messer was going to die eventually. Why not today? I think you also have to acknowledge that Macross is a universe that never developed tomahawk missiles or anything.
Yeah.
You know, weapons that can fire over the horizon. I can tell if she's afraid or repulsed.
I think she's afraid that she can't be the leader that she was before.
Well, no,
she doesn't have that confidence.
She looked up at him and then went like that when she really saw him. It was like, I don't know, that's a good move. Oh, that's why they never have them. They don't dump them. It's up to Delta Squad to give them their holographic drone stuff.
Yeah, they're in the
I'm saying every time we see them without them, it's because the Delta Squad hasn't given it to them.
Yeah, they're a team. They're the carriers.
Well, they haven't. They've been in a lot of bad situations where they haven't had them. I don't know what Axia means in this context.
No.
Remember that it's immature when your rune floats off and glows. They've said this before. And all of these guys are getting real immature. Oh wow, exactly like that thing that I said would happen. To be fair, he could also die right now too, and both things would be true. They're really painting it like he's about to die.
Yeah.
What, are you in love with him? Who was that? Was that a random person?
No, that's the bits that they.
Well, I was right twice. I think it's my fault that he died. I said he was my favorite character, and I have a curse. My favorite characters always fucking die.
Told you he could die.
Say what?
I told you somebody could die. It's like, nobody's gonna die. Well,
have you been ignoring me this whole time? I literally said that Messer was either going to die or learn to control his VAR syndrome. How could I have said nobody? How did I say nobody could die and also say Messer would probably die?
You did say earlier that this show doesn't like people. It showed that people die. I'm like, yeah, well.
No, I didn't say this show. It wasn't. I said this show feels like it might be.
Well.
I gave you double uncertain terms.
Of course, without the best pilot, they're screwed.
No,
I guess that's the thing. This is the hope spot, and then they kill him. And it's like, now we really are on the back foot.
Nah, I mean, he was the best pilot, but he wasn't the only good pilot.
Yeah, but they were getting their ass kicked before he showed up.
No, actually, I wouldn't say they were winning. They were
not winning.
They were actually, because they were pushing off. They were pushing off the aerial.
They were not.
Okay, I can't raise my voice right now.
Sorry.
I'll wait for the next time on.
There is no next time on.
Yeah, I was moving my cursor over here to see if there was any time left on the thing. No, at the very beginning of the fight, we saw one of the twins was losing, and one of the other guys, I can't remember who, was also losing in their dogfights, and then the White Knight had to come in and save them both. They were Delta Squad was winning the fight for a bit at the very beginning, and then the White Knight shows up and it basically makes it all even. And then that's when Messer shows up, and I guess Bogey there gets into a fight with him. And then it's all basically even until Messer loses, and then obviously I guess that's the changing tide. So I wouldn't say that they were losing. I was saying they were winning at the very beginning, and then things got evened out.
No, because three of them got damaged, so they were losing badly. So they had to
again. The aerial knights were getting shot at and had to keep retreating or be saved by another aerial knight at the very beginning too. So they were being off-put, regardless of whatever damage was being done to Delta Squad.
Yeah, but if you're getting damage on Delta Squad, then you're losing.
If you have to keep getting saved, then you're also losing.
No, really. I think they were working together. I think the aerial knights were kicking ass from the very beginning.
Well, agree to disagree, I guess.
And now that Messer is dead,
again, I say they lost their best, but I don't think they're not like all shit. They're still all good pilots.
Yeah, but they're not comparable to the White Knights, which means
there's only one White Knight.
Yeah, but he's leading the squad and he's giving them the edge they need to win.
I don't think that matters as much. I mean, we have Hayate, who could just be good whenever he wants to, apparently.
No, without the singing, apparently.
Well, again, I'm saying when he wants to. Because Freya just say, oh no, Hayate's in danger. Boom. He turns into Messer, basically.
And she's basically knocked out with Mikano.
No, they just woke up at the very end.
Yeah, but unless if they are not able to sing, then yeah.
Well, no, because that's what I was talking about before, that Delta Squad has to drop all of their equipment. And there's been so many engagements where they just didn't do that. So all they have to do is drop the equipment and boom, they get amplified by so many times. So, and again, she's awake right now.
I don't know. I think they're going to have to retreat from this fight next episode.
They can't. Lady M gave them orders to defend this planet and Ragna, so they've got to stay here or get reinforced. I don't think they can retreat from Ragna. I mean, sorry, Al Shahal.
Well, they can't get reinforced because the VARS controls their reinforcement, the would-be reinforcement.
No, you're talking about the nuns. We don't know where, I forgot the name of the ship. The other carrier is at right now. I'd assume that's what will reinforce them. Because it can't be the nuns. The nuns are the ones also. Well, technically they could be reinforced by the nuns. You're saying that the VARs are going to hit them. That's what Walkir is here for. Walkir is on site to un-VARs them.
But yeah, I don't.
That's the entire reason Walkir exists, though. So
yeah, but they're not that effective. I mean, they're somewhat effective, but not entirely effective. So because they have to do push and pull with Heinz. So.
Well, we've seen them de-VARs people before, literally episode 1, literally at Al Shahal. So
yeah, but not before these guys, Heinz can get control of them and use their larger numbers to do so. So yeah, I think that
we've seen them shut down Heinz before.
Without it, I think they're going to have to retreat.
I don't think they can. Also, this would be narratively unsatisfying if they did. You don't take a loss and immediately retreat. Not in this show. Like other things, sure. Because like Lord of the Rings. We lost Gandalf. Gotta go. I think this is one of those. I know you hate when I say it all the time, but I have to say it all the time. Take your sorrow and turn it into anger moments.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna be it. At least not immediately. I think what's gonna happen is that they're gonna retreat, reform, and then have a new strategy or bring new people or something in order to fight back.
I'm giving the show the benefit of the doubt to say that it's going to go the way that I say. Unfortunately, knowing Macross as I do now, having alongside you watched everything up until this, what was most likely happen to me, given the fact that we saw No Next Time On, is that we're just going to time jump to some other thing. We're no longer going to be in Al Shahal, and we're just going to be at like our home base at Ragna or some shit, crying that Messer is dead. Like we're not going to even. Yeah, I know it's going to be the retreat thing. I mean, I'm telling you what narratively would be satisfying to me is that oh no, Messer's dead, and then what's her name starts singing with more passion than she did before, with the anger that she feels for what happened, and then we turn it all around. Push them back, but as I said, having seen as much Macross as I've seen so far, I wouldn't put it past them to just next episode starts on Ranga and being like, what the fuck happened? What happened to everything in between?
Good episode. predictable, though.
It's better than episode 9, I'll say that.
I mean, they're different. I don't think they can be compared, though.
They're 2 episodes of the same show. I think we can compare them. I think that when we get to the end of the show and the movies and we're ranking characters, and then we say what our top 5 episodes are, we literally will be comparing them. As we've done every other Macross series so far, where we said what the best episodes of those were, where we compared them against one another. Sorry, it was just such an incredulous statement that you made. You don't think you can compare those 2 episodes?
No, compare them because I think they're completely thematically, they're different. I mean, overall, I think, so far 9 is some of the weakest, not the weakest, but some of the weakest episodes. And this one was stronger. But I still like 9, so it's not like I completely hated it. It's not, I mean, most of the episodes I find that still the episode when they had the dual fight things and whether or not Hayate was going to stay or leave, I think still that is the weakest so far.
I'm not trying to stretch out to see what the weakest is, and I will say that recency bias is obviously leaning me towards 9, but that's because I'm not actually actively thinking about what every episode has been so far. So, for the sake of not engaging in recency bias, I'm not going to say 9 was the worst. It's just that a lot of 9 was forgettable. Like, when I try and think about what are the best episodes, usually it's the episodes I remember the most about because they were impactful enough to have remembered a lot for. So, when an episode pops up where I just remember one thing about it, not impactful.
Impactful?
That's what I said, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry. Well, we didn't get him next on, so whatever's going to happen, like you said, it's going to be pretty bad for our, our folks right here.
It's only episode 10, 16 episodes to go. I wouldn't even think we're past the first arc yet. And again, that's the one semi-spoiler thing. Like, a spoiler already. You mentioned something. Well, you didn't mention it because I asked you not to, but you brought up something about the end of the show. And I said the semi-spoiler thing that I know is that they say the second half of the show is a lot better than the first half. So we're heading into better stuff.
Yeah, 24 episodes, so
26 episodes.
So episode 13 will be the halfway point.
Right, but so I don't know what technically the second half of the show is. You say the second half of the show would be the numerical second half, but there might be an arc here where after a certain event happens.
I think we're now being introduced to a new arc because we now introduced to the Epsilon Foundation. We thought that this was just when the Mirrors doing things, but now we have these guys show up. So
I don't know that it defines an arc. Like, maybe finally activating all the protoculture ruins starts a thing, which would then be the second arc. And because we're still in the middle of that. Or Hines dying and a whole new power taking over the Windemarian thing could be a new arc. Like, I don't know until we complete something. Like, until we get to an event where, like, this changes everything, that would be the new arc.
I think Messer dying could be considered to be changing. How much influence does it have? I don't know, but it could well be,
I mean, maybe. Like, the same way that everybody, like when Roy dying in SDF Macross didn't change everything.
No, it just changed things for Hikaru.
Yeah, I was trying to equate him with the guy in Macross 7, the K-name guy, who I like, and I can't remember his name all of a sudden. Kinemaru or something like that. When he died, didn't technically change everything either. So I don't think there's a precedent for important side character dying being the setup for a change.
Well, anyway, that was this episode. Pretty heavy.
All right. Well, that said, once again, I've been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?